Another brick fan here with a Star Wars Microfighter. This is Resistance Y-Wing. This is set 75263, was released in January 2020, has 86 pieces, 1 minifigure, and cost about $10 when it was released. This is a good representation of a Y-Wing, and I really like the rotating turret here in the back that is done with a couple of these clipped with the receiver pieces or pipe pieces in the back. Those are kind of nice. These flick-fire missiles are still a pretty good play feature, but not nearly as good as, say, a stud shooter or the spring-loaded missiles. But it looks good on both sides. It's pretty symmetrical as far as that goes. And it does come with Zorii Bliss, and this is one of these figures that I really like. I think it turned out really nicely in this dark red. So let's take a closer look at Zorii Bliss here. You can see she's in that dark red jumpsuit with the gold helmet. She has this old style pistol for her blaster, which turned out pretty nicely. I do like the gold printing on her uniform here. I think that looks really good. She has a little bit of printing here on the back. And this helmet, as you can see looking at it from the side, is really long in the back with this big extra piece here. What's really interesting, and I suppose makes some sense, is that she doesn't come with a face. Now, she never did show her face in the movies, so I guess that makes sense that we wouldn't see her face and the Lego couldn't come up with a face for her. But again, that's still a little bit disappointing that she doesn't have face to go along with her minifigure. Looking at the fighter itself, the scale of these Microfighters is kind of interesting because they scale them to be, you know, a micro size of the fighter itself, but still big enough to put a minifigure in. And of course, the minifigure is way out of scale with the vehicle. As you can see here, Zorii is almost the same size as the front of the whole Y-Wing itself. So obviously very out of proportion, but that is pretty typical for these Microfighters. It does look pretty good from just about every angle. So looking kind of top down on it, you see the two engines, one on either side, that are built exactly the same way. I like the little purple color here in the back. You usually see red on the back of engines, so it's kind of interesting to see kind of a purplish pink color here in the back. More of that trans lavender, I would suppose, would be the right color to call that. I already pointed out these flick fire missiles, which if you push them out of here, they will fire a little bit, not as much as well as a spring-loaded missile. The bottom of the ship doesn't look too bad either. Again, it stays pretty symmetrical, nice and smooth here on the bottom. Very solidly built. As you can see, there are several Technic pins in the sides here that hold on these engines, so that makes them very sturdy and stable. So this makes for a very good play piece that you could fly around as a ship. So that seems like a pretty good playability and swooshability to me. Moving on to the value of the set. This did cost about $10 and has 86 pieces, so slightly over the 10-cent per piece price point where I like to start. Knowing that it's a Star Wars set or Disney in general, I expect to pay just a little bit more or pay a premium for those sets most of the time. I'm not very disappointed in this price point. I mean, I think $10 is a pretty reasonable price for this set, and quite honestly, Lego doesn't produce a lot of sets beyond, say, minifigures and things like that at the $5 price point. So $10 is kind of where a lot of these small sets start, and this one is no exception. You could get, similar sized city set would cost you about $10 as well. So overall value is pretty good. It does make for an interesting little display piece. I do like this minifigure. The Zoe Bliss minifigure only came in one other set, which is the full-size Resistance Y-Wing. So this is a cheaper way to get. That set's around $70, and this is a $10 set. So if you like this minifigure like I do, this is the cheapest way to get that. Just a quick review of a Microfighter. Hope you enjoyed my thoughts. I'm going to get started on my next video. And until then, happy building. If you enjoyed this video, help me out and click that like button. Be sure to subscribe to see more of my reviews. I've left a link to my Star Wars review playlist up here on the screen.